Before Dubarry was a lady, imbibing pots of chocolate skillfully blended to perfection by her royal lover, or Marie Antoinette lost her head and suggested hungry Frenchmen have their cake and eat it too, while sipping whipped cream-laden sweet almond hot chocolate. Montezuma had a little secret that Hernan Cortés, conquistador, would-be serpent god, and general scourge of the South Americas, had discovered, and which he celebrated by toasting his good fortune from goblets of gold with his royal hostage host, before pulling an ungodlike face and emphatically declaring the beverage pig swill. Nonetheless, the story goes that he introduced the Spanish royal court to his bitter little drink, who in turn turned the pig's ear into a silk purse with a liberal addition of sugar, magically transforming the revolting beverage to a sublime elixir, and confirming every child's theory that sugar makes everything better. However, another story tells of friars who presented Guatemalan Mayans to Philip II of Spain in the mid-1500s, and who, in turn, also brought cacao beans along as a gift. Either way, the Spaniards, unwilling to let well enough alone, a fact we should all be very grateful for, added a bit of vanilla and fragrant spices to their new favorite drink, and with energy to spare, headed out to look for more plantations with which to secure their chocolate empire. Christopher Columbus rolled his eyes at the fuss, or he would have if he'd still been alive, as nobody had cared a wink about his cacao bean gift box when he had shown up with it. Granted, his knowledge of their worth had been limited to their being an Aztec currency, and shockingly, no one thought to drink the money. But Montezuma would have, at his ceremonial events, funerals, weddings, or approximately 50 times a day from a golden goblet, served by ancient chocolato baristas, who dramatically poured the drink between bowls at a height, until the beverage had a proper froth, and was mixed, not stirred, with dried chilies and ground cornmeal, and eagerly imbibed by the emperor. Nope, old Montezuma didn't have a drinking problem, because he had a warehouse of beans just ready to be roasted, and a steady source flowing in tributes from other cultures he had conquered, so no problem here. Until his rude guests showed up, that is, and discovered the emperor's groove, and shoved him right out of it. "This drink," gushed an anonymous chocolate-drinking pal of Cortés, "is the healthiest thing, and the greatest sustenance of anything you could drink in the world, because he who drinks a cup of this liquid, no matter how far he walks, can go a whole day without eating." Sounds like the best diet plan ever, agrees almost every female in the world. Anyway, back in Europe, it had taken the Spaniards about a century to spread the word about their chocolate secrets through intermarriage with other royal houses, but things were rocking and rolling by the mid-1600s, with London's version of the chocolatey Starbucks popping up by the hundreds throughout the town, gaining a scandalous reputation and a presumed association with popery, until, in a clever advertising campaign which painted a picture of the healthfulness of drinking chocolate, their reputation was salvaged, as everyone agreed this made complete sense, and vowed to get healthy immediately. The noble families of Europe hired artisans who were skilled in the making of hot chocolate, while the public chocolate houses were known for their healthy debates of politics, and their gambling, which eventually prompted Charles II to try and ban them in 1675. But chocolate is delicious, and perhaps a skosh addictive. So good luck wrenching that combination from everyone's chocolatey grasp. Down in Mexico, a traveling English Dominican friar, Thomas Gage, attempted to discourage the bishop from allowing the women in the congregation from sipping their chocolates during the service to sustain themselves during high mass. The bishop agreed and excommunicated the women who refused to relinquish their chocolate, but then mysteriously turned up dead from a cup of poisoned chocolate. Who had dispatched the bishop was not a mystery. Friar Thomas hurried out of town without another word or another sip of chocolate. Smart man. Pope Alexander VII, equally wisely, decided liquids including chocolate do not constitute breaking a fast in 1662, and the matter was put to rest. And then an Irishman, Sir Hans Sloane, the president of the Royal College of Physicians, who was visiting Jamaica when he was introduced to hot chocolate, poured a bit of milk in his to make it less intolerable, and then he brought his less nauseating recipe back to England, where it was very well received. This should not be mistaken, however, for hot cocoa, which is an entirely different animal altogether. Hot chocolate is made of the whole chocolate after the bean has been fermented, dried, and ground, leaving its cocoa solids and its cocoa butter intact. These bars of whole chocolate are chopped finely or grated and melted with water or milk, sweetened with sugar, vanilla, and spices, for a decadent drink experience with all its health benefits left unscathed, albeit sweetened within an inch of its life with sugar. So, health is a relative term here. Hot cocoa is made from Dutch cocoa powder in a process not surprisingly discovered by a Dutchman. In the 18th century, Conrad van Houten figured out how to separate the majority of the fat off the cacao seeds and treated them with alkaline salts to neutralize the acidity while leaving a powdered chocolate that blends brilliantly with water or milk. During the Christmas season, hot chocolate becomes the hot beverage of choice for the holidays. We might guess this has much to do with the cold weather as winter moves in and the creaminess of the rich drink, which gives us a comfortable, cozy feeling. And perhaps that's exactly it. Or maybe it's the rush of endorphins and the boost of serotonin that lightens our mood and relaxes our smooth muscles, improving blood flow and lung function. Then again, maybe it's just the deliciousness of the chocolate, whose bitterness is perfectly mellowed by the sugar, that makes us crave the next sip. Whether the creamy hot chocolate is covered in whipped cream or dotted with marshmallows and a redundant dark chocolate syrup, or not, there's just something about a mug filled with the frothy, thick, chocolatey drink as you sit beside a fire in the glow of your Christmas tree. That's perfectly magical. We hope you enjoyed today's delicious little video in our Christmas Advent calendar, and that you will like, comment, and share our Advent series with your friends and family. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel as it helps us continue to grow as well. Now go whip up a designer hot chocolate, smother it in whipped cream, and sip away. You deserve it with all this Christmasing you're doing. See you next time.